Hey guys, and welcome back. For me, this is video 3 of the evening because if you haven't noticed looking at my channel, I haven't posted a video in over 20 weeks, and the one that I did post last I shot before I was pregnant. Because if you watched my last video, my second video that I have made tonight, it's because my whole first trimester I had no energy, I had no will to live, I was a little depressed. And then after that, I had more energy, but because I had more energy, I got back to doing real life stuff, which was like cleaning my house and catching up on laundry and actually getting work done. So today we are going to talk about all of the things that I did not expect about pregnancy. Because honestly, I watched all of the pregnancy vlogs and all of the pregnant mamas and hours and hours and hours of research prior to getting pregnant, because that was the only way that I could feel close to the baby that we had not conceived yet. And I literally obsessively researched, obsessively, don't be me, too much, don't need it, it's not worth it. And yet there were still things that I was surprised about. That being said, we're gonna get started. I assumed that because I like to eat food and that I drink a lot of coffee, and because I have a really hard time losing weight, I don't gain weight super rapidly, but over the last 4 years I've put on probably 20 pounds and don't lose it very easily. So I honestly expected that I would gain a bunch of weight in my first and second trimester, and what happened is that I was so nauseous and vomiting all the time that I lost 12 to 15 pounds my first trimester, and then really slowly gained it back. In fact, I didn't really start gaining that weight back until probably week 23 or 24 of pregnancy. And then because she's rapidly growing now, I'm rapidly growing. And so overall net from my pre-pregnancy weight was about 155 pounds. I had gotten down to about 143 depending on when I ate and what time in the day. And I am just now at 28 and a half weeks at 159. So I've gained a net 4 pounds, but I've really gained 17 pounds back. So I don't really know how that's classified. But anyway, I really didn't expect to lose that much weight. I honestly expected to be like a giant whale. So I guess that's a positive. One positive thing about being miserable in my entire first trimester. The other thing was that I didn't expect to be miserable, not only my entire first trimester, but I'm well into my second trimester. I expected morning sickness, and I even had heard you could have all day sickness. And so, knowing that I don't have great gut health anyway, and I get randomly nauseous all the time anyway, and I have really bad heartburn anyway, I expected up until 12 weeks to be I don't feel good. Pregnancy sucks. I have heartburn. It was I would throw up from the moment I woke up till I went to bed. I would have heartburn, and I still have heartburn. And I literally will wake up in the middle of the night choking on acid reflux. My doctor recommended Tums. Tums didn't touch it, so we put me on Prilosec, 20 milligrams a day in Tums. That still really didn't touch it. So I now take 40 milligrams of Prilosec every day in Tums. These are worst case scenario symptoms. That may not happen to you. Every pregnancy is different. Again, I wasn't prepared for this level because I don't think most women experience the intensity of these symptoms that I did. But it's out there. Just in case. Pregnancy is still a beautiful thing. At some point in your pregnancy, having a baby, I still believe, is fully worth it. Just don't be surprised if you're miserable and slightly depressed until 18 weeks. And don't be surprised if you think you're a crunchy granola human like I am, and you're going to be great, and you're not going to take any medication except for your prenatals all pregnancy, and then you're like me, and you take 8 pills a night for your 2 prenatals and your 2 stool softeners because you now have constipation because of the Zofran that you also take. And anyway, I take 8 pills every night. So if you watch my first trimester and second trimester recap, you already know, but I thought I was having an ectopic pregnancy during the first 7 weeks because I was getting really intense pains where I thought my ovaries were. Sharp stabbing pains pretty frequently throughout the day. And so I was really worried that it was ectopic, and I pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed my doctor to do an early ultrasound to confirm that it was not ectopic, which she waited until 7 weeks to do, because if we were going to do that early of an ultrasound, we would want to be able to see the heart rate. You can't a lot of times see the heart rate until like 6.5 weeks or 7 weeks. And so honestly, at that point, if it had been ectopic, I probably would have ruptured a fallopian tube. But we got there, determined that yes, she had a heartbeat. She was dating a little behind, but she was not ectopic. And so that was great to find out. But anyway, basically what I learned from that I did not expect is that I basically have had round ligament pain since week 5. It's gotten way better in the last like 4 weeks, but now that my belly is heavier, it's still really uncomfortable for me to turn side to side at night now. But yeah, don't be surprised if you have round ligament pain, because I thought it was like super uncommon, and that really only happened at like the end of your pregnancy when your belly was just so heavy and everything was stretching. But no, you can have round ligament pain your entire pregnancy, so that's fun. The other thing I was not expecting, I knew that I was going to have random cravings. I did not expect that I would all of a sudden stop liking my favorite foods. So I'm an avid coffee drinker. I can drink coffee all day. I love fancy lattes with oat milk, and I did not want coffee at all. Did not sound good, did not taste good. Recently redeveloped my love for coffee, not quite as intense as it was pre-pregnancy, but it was honestly kind of depressing to lose like my comfort food. Tomatoes. Oh my gosh, I could eat tomatoes and salads and Italian dressing and like all the healthy foods all the time. Except then I got pregnant and I didn't want any of those foods. In fact, tomatoes are the number one thing that gives me acid reflux, like to the point where I made lasagna a couple weeks ago and I literally woke up choking on acid reflux like 4 times in that one night. So I can't touch tomatoes. Can't do it. I used to love them. Can't have pico, can't have tomato sauce, can't snack on tomatoes. Like, it's just a no. It's a no for me. This isn't really surprising. It wasn't a change for me, but I ate way more carbs than I did before. So I ate a lot of pastas, a lot of French fries, a lot of chicken nuggets and chicken strips from Zaxby's and Cane's and Chick-fil-A. And something that was really new for me is that I had never really liked sweets except for fancy coffee. Like I was that kid that didn't eat my own birthday cake. And all I've wanted is sweets, like sour candy, chocolate, cake, pie, you name it, like all of the desserts. So that's been new, but maybe not that weird considering like pregnancy cravings to like crave sweets. Just unexpected for me is all. One of the other things that I should have expected but didn't for me, I like already wasn't a super regular human, which is probably more than you need to know, but I like didn't go to the bathroom regularly anyway. But when I started taking Zofran, one of the side effects is constipation, and so it was not unusual for me to go 4 or 5 days without going to the bathroom. Just terrifying. But anyway, I now have to take 2 stool softeners and normally milk and magnesium every day to make sure that I am going to the bathroom at least every 3 days now. We've moved up like to 3 days. That's exciting. I get excited. Wes and I celebrate when I'm like, congratulations, I went to the bathroom today and I'm not going to rupture a bowel. Anyway, glorious things of pregnancy. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. I did, however, expect to pee all the time, because that's all you hear is that you pee all the time. And I do now that I'm 28 weeks pregnant, pee all the time. But that really didn't start happening until like 25 weeks. I would like have to get up and go to the bathroom like once a night and could kind of hold it until the morning, and would just kind of pee maybe like 1 or 2 times a day more than usual. But I like honestly expected to be peeing like every half hour, and that's not really true. Now that she's bigger though, and I am 28 weeks, like it literally is not unusual for me to pee every 30 minutes because your bladder is like this big and the baby is sitting on top of your bladder. It's like this big. So we did get there, just not as early as I thought we were going to. The other thing is like baby kicks. I expected it to be like little bitty flutters and things until I was like giant pregnant. But oh no, at like 19 weeks, this little girl is like painfully punching and kicking, and Wes can feel her and we could see it from the outside, and she's going to be like a full-on soccer player. So from like 0 to 17 weeks, there are no kicks. I feel nothing. And then all of a sudden it's like, bam, baby kicks. At some point I'll like actually show you the bump, but then I'd have to get off the floor. And I'll never get back up again or down again, and so I'm just gonna stay right here as long as possible. One of the things they tell you in pregnancy is that you're not supposed to sleep on your back, and the reason is because you have a artery that you can like basically depress from the weight of your stomach. So after like 20 weeks, you should try not to sleep on your back because it could make you nauseous or not feel good or lightheaded or whatever. So I expected to feel like that there would be like internal alarm bells that would go off if I started sleeping on my back late in pregnancy. But what I actually find is that I'm most comfortable on my back, and I frequently wake up because either Wes wakes me up or I wake up in a panic realizing that I've been on my back for who knows how long. I wake up like every 30 minutes now in the middle of the night because I'm generally uncomfortable. So I generally catch it and then flip back over, but I just assumed that if I wasn't supposed to sleep on my back because I would feel gross, that I would actually feel gross, not that I would be like, you know what my favorite sleeping position is? On my back. So anyway, I'm out of breath all the time because there's a giant baby in my belly. Please excuse my out of breathness. I don't know why, but I thought I'd get an ultrasound at like 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 20 weeks, 28 weeks, 32 weeks, 36 weeks, 40 weeks. And I think part of it is because I have a really close friend whose baby was growth restricted. And so they did a lot of like non-stress tests. They did a lot of ultrasounds to make sure he was developing okay. Like I just assumed that I would get to see my baby all the time. And I've had the 17-week one, or the 7-week one that was supposed to be my 12-week one. So I had the one at 7, I had the one at 20, and then I had the one at 25 that I wasn't even really supposed to get. I just got to because my doctor's cool. And because she's healthy and like developing fine and her heart rate sounds great, like we won't do another ultrasound. She'll be born and I will have not seen her for 15 weeks. And so that was really surprising. I don't know if like everybody has that experience or if that's just my doctor's experience, that like if she's fine, don't mess with it. But yeah, I really expected honestly to have like more doctor's appointments, more testing, more ultrasounds, and we're just like, nah, she's fine. So anyway, don't be surprised if that's you. Okay, so I knew that at some point I was going to be like giant huge, and I expected that when I got a bump, my pants would stop fitting and my shirts would stop fitting all about the same amount of time. Like when I started bumping at like 24, 25 weeks. So I didn't start really getting a bump until like 22 or 23 weeks. I like have the like cute like, oh, at 16 weeks I have a bump, but like I don't. I look like I ate too much at dinner. So what I didn't expect is that at like 8 weeks my pants would not fit anymore. I went from wearing my like usual size 27 jeans to like wearing the ones that you like bought and ended up being a little like a size or two too big, and so you stick them in the drawer thinking you should really just get rid of them, but you don't. So I was wearing like my size 29 pants at like 8 weeks, and by like 12 or 13 weeks I was having to use that like trick that you do with the hairband to like keep your pants held together because none of my pants would fit, because even though my belly wasn't expanding, my uterus is, and so like there's my hips are spreading, like that whole section of my body is bigger. So even though you don't have a bump and you're not showing and you don't think you need maternity clothes, none of your pants fit. I also stopped wearing really tight restrictive clothing, so like all of my like workout leggings that I needed to try to go to the gym didn't fit. So I started wearing maternity leggings super early in pregnancy. Which I found out was also really frustrating because it's really difficult to find maternity leggings that don't have that like giant maternity band panel, which I use now and wear now and is fine now, but like did not need that floppy maternity panel at 8 weeks or 9 weeks. So anyway, what I learned to appreciate is really low-rise jeans, or leggings that I could shove down under the bump at some point. But anyway, the other thing that was weird was because I like grew out of my pants at 8 weeks, I expected to then grow out of all my shirts really early. No. I'm 29 weeks and I could still wear like half of my t-shirts and pants. This is like a normal non-maternity top. Shout out to Ravenclaws, Harry Potter for life. So for the most part, like I'm now wearing maternity clothes because they like frame the bump and like look super cute and they're more comfy. But like I can still wear a lot of my shirts and stuff. That's gonna change pretty soon. Like they're starting to get to the point where like the belly's peeking out the bottom. But yeah, I think you'd be surprised on like what you can and can't fit and for how long. So again, I watched like as dog hair in my mouth always. I watched all the videos before we got pregnant so I would know everything and not be anxious. And I honestly, like, YouTube is such a great platform for awareness that I think I like assumed we would encounter problems. Like I like convinced myself that it was ectopic because we couldn't possibly just like have a normal pregnancy. And like we were going to get to the anatomy scan and they were going to be like, oh, something looks weird and you've got to go see a specialist. And like, maybe everything turns out fine, but you've got to like at least have the little scare. And again, I had my friend who like had a benign tumor on the brain that went away eventually, and he was growth restricted and he was born and everything was fine. But like I expected to have these like panic moments that we haven't had. Like there are normal pregnancies out there. Like mine is one of them where like nothing goes weird or normal other than like the intense nausea and vomiting, and like that sucks. But that's a me issue. That's not like a baby issue. But like I passed my gestational diabetes test, which I also expected to be horrible because everyone talks about how awful it is. But like it honestly tasted like Tang. If you've ever had the like powder drink Tang, it's pretty good. The orange one was pretty good tasting. The fruit punch one that I had to take when I went back for my 3-hour test, that one was pretty sugary intense. But even then it didn't taste bad. It was just like so much sugar. So I expected to think that it tasted terrible. That's what I expected. I didn't expect to like the way they tasted. And then honestly, like I just like went and did it in the middle of the day and thought I was gonna be totally fine. No. Your girl had the craziest sugar high I've ever had in my entire life for about 10 minutes and then crashed. Like couldn't keep my eyes open. So exhausted, needed a 4-hour nap to recover from the sugar high crash from the gestational diabetes test. So you've been warned. Even if you think you're gonna like go back to work and be a productive human, you're probably not. You're gonna need a nap to recover from the sugar that your body is processing. And it probably won't taste as terrible as you think it is unless you really hate the taste of Tang or fruit punch. So there you go. I think everybody knows that there are foods and things you can't have in pregnancy, like obvious things like energy drinks that have like weird chemicals and like raw eggs, like just the usual stuff that you tell you can't have sushi. Like everybody I think knows those for the most part, but I like stumbled onto some random ones I wasn't prepared for, like hibiscus tea and chamomile tea in early pregnancy. You're not really supposed to have because they can cause your uterus to contract, and so you can miscarry from your uterus contracting. That's such a low risk that it's probably not a problem and nothing for you to fret over. But like I would have never known had I not just like randomly stumbled onto a Google article that talked about it. I wasn't even like looking for foods that I couldn't have. And then it was just kind of sad because one of my like favorite drinks from Starbucks has hibiscus in it, and then I was like, oh, I can't have it. Weird. And then I subscribed to a pregnancy box, and like every product they sent that first box was like chamomile massaging oil, chamomile face mask, chamomile tea to calm you down during pregnancy. And I'm like, why are they doing this? I just found out I can't have it. I don't understand. Anyway, so there's just a whole bunch of other random things out there that you like don't know you're not supposed to have, which probably means you shouldn't stress about it if it accidentally happens. But like, hey, everybody talks about how soothing baths are and that they take baths their whole pregnancy to feel better. And the other thing I found out is that you're not supposed to like overheat your body. And so while normal people or me, I guess, really like to take like steaming hot, burn your skin baths. You're not supposed to do that in pregnancy. In fact, you're not supposed to take baths that are over like 99 or 100 degrees, because if it heats up you, it's probably heating up your belly, which means it's heating up the baby. And so you can take like 10-minute baths, or you can take baths for an hour at lukewarm body temperature degree. So that's unfortunate, because I just assumed like if everybody labors in a bathtub because it feels better, that you could just like have all the baths and it'd be glorious, because I've been having hip pain in addition to the round ligament pain since like 16 weeks. No glorious baths. No, because who wants to go take an hour-long lukewarm bath or sit in a bath for 10 minutes? About the time you get nice and relaxed, you're like, time's up, gotta get out. And then the other thing was that I didn't expect to just have like hip pain to the point where I'm like limping around my bedroom at night for most of the pregnancy. But I guess if my baby's healthy and I'm healthy, other than having hip pain and intense heartburn, like I really can't complain. So if you have anything that you didn't expect, share below, because that's obviously why you're here, is to, other mamas to learn all the things that happen in pregnancy. If any of these things happen to you, we can commiserate together. Or maybe you've had a glorious pregnancy and none of these things happen, and I would love to celebrate you for that too. So if you really enjoyed this, I hope that you'll subscribe and stick around for more videos. But yeah, thanks for sticking with me this long. Can't wait to do more updates as we get a little further along, but currently 28 and a half weeks. She's due March 17th, and she has a name. So hopefully we'll get to tell you that soon, and maybe even get to do like a nursery tour, because I'm nesting way sooner than I thought I would be. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.